ready to talk a little football. But it's crazy. The Rams were trying to trade up to 70 with the Jaguars. I'm trying to look and see where they were at. They had picked 90. They were given this year's third round pick, next year's third round pick, and a fifth round pick for that pick. So we had to give the extra third to move up from 102. Even though the compensation looks bad, it was the right. Oh, you must be dealing with the storms and stuff. Yeah, we've been having some issues too here. I hope mine stays good. Ricky Scott's out there watching. Thank you, sir. Yeah, this will be the first time since I've been back that Brian can't be on. Be Strilla, the Thrilla. I was running late. That's why I didn't notify you. But I go every time around this time, so you know it's when I go. So they were going to give up the 90, next year's third, and a fifth to move up to 70. And at 102, the very last pick of the third round, we had to give the extra third to beat them out. So now knowing that, I'm kind of okay with it. The initial deal was 2/3 and a fifth, and I think they bumped it up to a second. Either way, they had to outbid them because they had an earlier pick than them. Yeah, and I heard it was for Tesla too, but I think I read that from his agent in an interview with the Athletic. So how was your weekend? It was uneventful here. There is nothing out there. No news. Wonder if there's any roundup. Not even a roundup today, so nobody had any signing. Ugh. Yeah. And how about Michigan whooping up on Ohio State in baseball? 23-1? Holy smokes, it's like they played a bad basketball team. Yep, got to keep it up, got to stay consistent. As long as they keep winning series, they could have a special year this year. Oh, look, we got Steve coming in. Just waiting for the next. There he is, Steve, the Packer fan. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, how you doing?
Fantastic. Did
I
you hear?
figure.
Did you hear about that? The Rams tried to move up to 70 to get Tesla as well.
For real?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they
did
were
hear something about that. Yeah, okay, I do remember that.
because they were offered. Their original offer was this year's third at 90, next year's third and a fifth, and
Well,
then
you know what?
they changed it to keep the 90th pick and offered next year's second.
Well, here's what I want to say about all these players in this draft.
Hmm.
really, they're like I went on about 3, 4 days ago at night. I went on this Vikings podcast. There was like Fish and all these other guys, and before I went on it, they seemed to be really disappointed in who the Vikings took in their first pick and all these other picks, whatever. And I went on and said, "You guys can't do that. You can't do that."
Right.
Because they're not the top name players in the first round or whatever, the names aren't known or whatever. Everybody's like, boom. This receiver that they traded 3 third-round picks, whatever, for, nobody knows. Hey, to be honest with you, he could be another Jordy Nelson.
Or
When
better.
we traded out of the first round years ago into the second, and we picked up Jordy Nelson from Kansas State. Nobody knew who the hell Jordy Nelson was.
Right.
And Jordy Nelson became one of the, a very, very, very excellent receiver for the Packers. And see, this is what kills me about these draft picks that, you like me been watching their draft for years. And the thing is, if they're not this top name guy that's going in the first round, but look, a lot of these top name guys in the first round become bust.
Right. There's more bust out of the first round than any other round.
Right. I mean, it's just funny that you people, and I told those Viking fans, I said, you can't do this. Give these guys a chance. The thing is, if these guys want, like if I was a coach or a coordinator or went on a team, and these young rookies are coming in, one thing I'd be saying to these guys, I will look them dead in the face and I'll say, how bad do you want this?
Right. And
how bad you want on the field? You know what? Then show me in your heart how bad you want this. See, you can't, like this whole thing with Shadur. Right. He got drafted. Now, yeah, there's a lot on his plate because of his dad and a lot of the other antics, whatever, but still nobody knows. And hey, I still say that there's going to be that chance if he balls out, it's going to be somewhere down the line. You're going to hear, look what round he went. Look how many teams passed on him. And they're going to look at the quarterbacks who all went before him, like that Gabriel guy.
Yep.
And whatever. And there's going to be the narrative right there. So if anybody is going to be down because it's a no-name receiver, it's a no-name defensive lineman, offensive, just stop.
Well, if you watch that Wednesday night, our Mockapalooza, when we did the 2 different back-to-back for the hour.
Uh-huh.
And I actually said, don't be surprised in the first 2 days if we go get a big-bodied receiver. And I had done my scout. You know how I do. I go through that stuff, and I look.
Yeah.
And I said 3 names. I said Jaden Higgins, who went before we picked Tate Rutledge. So there was no chance to do that.
Right.
Isaac Tesla, who was technically the second best big man wide receiver.
How big is he?
6'4", 215.
Okay.
And I specifically looked up 6'3" or bigger, and just who had the stats, not their game tape, nothing like that. That's all I looked at. And the other one was Daniel Thornton out of Tennessee, who's also 6'4". All 3 of them are 6'4".
Right.
Smoking Dad in the chat. I got to play the music real quick. And we got Pat in the house. Good to see everybody. But I said, if it's any one of those 3 receivers in the first 2 days, I'm good. And I said, more than likely day 2, because I don't think any of them are worth a day 1 pick.
Well, exactly. But the thing is, to me, I like the picks from round 4 and on. Them are the picks that I like, because them are, they're the ones like, oh man, that's a first round bust, and they get that big money and whatever. But when you're picks 4, 5, 6, 7, even undrafted, you ain't got to worry about it.
Right. And the only ones you really look at right away from the UDFAs are the ones that get the biggest guaranteed money right off the rip. Those are the only ones you really pay about, because everybody else has to fight for a spot.
Like I just saw, I think it was this morning or was it last night? The one UDFA, we got Jonathan Baldwin out of UNLV. The Packers actually paid him some money.
Right. the 200,000 max for a UDFA, right? Or 250, something
Something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah, and
I
and
think,
ours is Jackson meets the Syracuse, who had good numbers at Syracuse with a crap QB. But guess what? He's the Darius Smith's nephew,
yeah.
and so that's kind of a you know, and the fact that Zadarius Smith is putting out cryptic tweets and posts anymore, it looks like he might be coming back.
Like the one guy I watched, Packer, what's his name? Basaric, whatever, Boss.
Yeah,
In the second round, Trey Amos was sitting right there. And he was hoping that we wouldn't, because, we needed, the corner help, whatever, because we don't know what's going on with Jair and whatever. But then we took, Anthony Belton. And he's like, and Trey Amos. But see, that's okay. To me, that's okay. Yes, it's the big name, and it's one of the top corners in the league, but still, give this off. I mean, I like what we're doing with the offensive line. We're adding the depth and whatever, because like I said, one, we don't know if Rashad Walker is going to be back next year or not. Whatever. I think what the Packers are doing is smart. All because if a big name player is sitting there, like the Viking guys, like Fish and all them guys are saying, there were so many guys there when they took Donovan Jackson. And then there's other guys. There's so many. The thing is, what we want is what we want, but we're not the Packers. We're not the Lions. They make up their own board. They know who they want. Like they bring guys in for the top 30 visits and stuff like that. They know who they want. So what we want is one thing, but what they want is what matters. There's nothing we can do or say about it. To me, I just let it gel together and hope and pray.
yep, and it was a solid draft for everybody, really. Even the Minnesota fans, they don't get it. It was just a solid, functional draft. All three
Well,
teams had one.
yeah. I mean, Minnesota, you look at it this way, guys. You guys did a lot in free agency to where you didn't really need this draft. Because look what, I mean, you spent a lot of money in free agency there, guys. And so forth. Your only hold is what J.J. McCarthy is going to do. That's the only hole there. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm excited about our draft. I even like a lot of the UDFA's I've been watching, and I'm happy for.
Yeah, I hear you. I like what we got. Is there a couple positions I wish we'd have addressed more in the UDFA's? Probably. But at 28, as you well know, because you're later in the rounds too, your UDFA picks are based off of what's available when you get there for what you want off of your board for your team. Maybe that position group wasn't available.
But does the Lions have many holes on the team?
No, no. We had to
Okay,
replace, we had to get another edge. We got, we brought back Marcus Davenport, Davenport, whatever you want to say. So that fills the need for a starter, right?
right.
We re-signed our linebackers that had expiring contracts, and Derek Barnes and a couple of the other UDFA's that filled in and played admirably at the end of the season. I mean, we won 15 games without Hutchinson. As a matter of fact, we won 10 out of 11 without him.
Yeah,
So you have to look at the bigger picture. We added Grant Stewart, who's a decent middle of the role rotational linebacker into our linebacker room. We added DJ Reed to replace Carlton Davis, and I think Reed is an upgrade over Davis, even though he's shorter. He plays better. Playing better means something to me. I don't know about you.
Well, like I said, it all depends on. I mean, anything on the field can happen.
Right.
Guys can slip, get hurt, whatever. It's a game. It's a game of chess. And the only thing is you just got to wish for the best. That's all. Because these guys, they want these big name players, and like you said and I said, instead of this guy, we could have had this guy. But okay, what if you did get that guy, and he became a bust, and the guy that you got is somewhere else, and he's a star.
Right.
See, it's all a game of chance. Just like I said, you guys
Yep.
got this receiver, and to me, he could be another Jordy Nelson. He could be what other receivers out there? Don
Uh,
Beebe.
Pat Rathwall, I think we're still at that same talent level we were at the end of the season. If that makes sense to you, Steve. I think we're still a playoff team. I don't know if we're, and I think the goal is still Super Bowl or bust. I think we're still at minimum a 10 to 12 win team with our roster, and I think we make the playoffs.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, out of the four teams in the NFC North. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to be better than all three teams, but we're the only team who hasn't had really any significant changes. But then again, what does that say? Because you guys got a whole two new coordinators. Not saying they're bad or good or whatever.
I
The
I, li-
Bears.
I like that one. I'll tell you what he will be. He will be the Vanillatron. If he ends up good, that's a great nickname.
Who?
Tesla.
No.
It is. It's a great nickname. But at least it's a fan making it up. It isn't like Chase Claypool, who was from Canada and came out and said, I will be Mapletron. He didn't name himself. You know what I mean? Keegan's in the chat. Holy shit. Where you been? Oh, yeah, that's right. You were on vacation. I think they did do better with the DE room. I think the addition of that 7th round pick, Ahmad Hassanin, is being slept on. I think he's going to be a good player. I think if he puts up the type of production that James Houston did for a half a season for the whole season, isn't that a lot better? Yeah, sorry, could not decide between Mulletron and Vanillatron. Well, the Mullet boy is Tate Ratledge. That's our guard.
Molotron or villain.
Uh, but Mullet Man is our new guard that we drafted. Tate Ratledge. Don't forget to like and share with all your fans out there. We're going live into 3 different platforms on 8 different channels.
I mean, I think this is going to be a very interesting season. Like I said, I won't be like I get asked all the time, who do I see winning the division? That's just right now. That's just too hard to say because these teams are equal in a way. I mean, like I said, we're the only team who hasn't had really any significant changes, but Minnesota, they got a full-fledged team. Their only hole is at quarterback. McCarthy could be a stellar quarterback, franchise, could really blow it up this year. Then again, he could be a bust. Who knows?
I'll get it for you there, buddy. Good Lord. All this damn thing. All right. I'm going to put it in the chat for you there, buddy. I'm getting it right now. There you go. That's my channel right there, Motown Mitch. Let's see. According to PFF, Tate and Frazier can both play right guard. Who do you think moves to the left guard spot, and does Glasgow move to backup center full time? I think Glasgow and Kingsley Egekun are competing for that spot as the backup center. We also added another one, Lee Fatanu out of Arizona State through UDFA's, but we know that don't always work out. Moonscar Blade is in the house.
Now they all should be reporting to camp soon, right? Was it
Yeah,
the 10th?
the only ones that aren't is the Lions. Is because we're in the Hall of Fame game, so we did away with the mandatory first camp, the little mini camp that they usually do with the vets meeting the rookies. We did away with that one.
Because I know the rookies are reported already.
Right, rookies are reported. That one's still going, but the one right after it, because they do like the 1 week with that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that these guys have their conversations. Yeah, I appreciate the sub. I'm trying to get to that point. I'm not saying I have to be paid to do this. Will, have a good day. I know you probably got to go to work. I think the Packers had the most stable offseason. They are the biggest threat to the North Crown. I kind of agree. Coach Sharon Moore suspended 2 games next season for his involvement in Signgate. I had a feeling that it was somebody under Harbaugh that was more involved than Harbaugh. If that makes sense to you, Steve.
I mean, what happened?
The Signgate thing with the linebackers coach or whatever he was that went around stealing people's signs and recruiting violations.
Oh, okay. At Michigan. I know Notre Dame is doing real well in the recruiting.
Oh, it's a different thing. Yep. Okay. Sharon is going to miss week 3 and 4. Tough week 4 match on the road in Nebraska. Gotcha. Smoking Dad. Let's tell him we'll buy. Oh, it's a different one? Okay, so it's more recruiting violations type thing.
And I think I think each team in the division really helped their offensive line.
So CMU in week 3 in Nebraska. Gotcha. Yep. Man, I think all 4 teams got better too. They were better than they were last year. The wild card in Chicago, will it all translate for Ben Johnson in year 1, right? That's a question mark.
I mean, let me ask you an honest question. Is there anything right now in the Lions or scares you? Is there because your team changed somewhat dramatically with new coordinators and everything. Is there anything that you feel is different? Like, okay,
I really think you'll see less of the trick plays. The going for it on 4th down The numbers have reduced by 2% every year that Dan Campbell's been here, which means he's starting to. That's why we've had such a high percentage of getting it, is because he's actually doing it at the right times instead of just going for it all the time like first year. Does that make sense how I'm wording it?
Well, let me ask you this, because you have a lot of knowledge. Do you see the running game coming back?
Oh yeah. I mean, it came back the last 2 seasons. We had almost 2,000 2 years ago, right? And we had over 2,000 last year. So, and we had 2,000 in year one with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. Who knew?
Because it seemed like the league was more of a passing oriented offense and not much of a running game.
And we still threw for 4,500 yards. So
Right,
that
but
tells you that the passing game is still the big part. But when you're talking about a third of it being rushing, that's a more balanced attack, correct?
correct.
And what do they say all the time when we're watching shows when a team gets one dimensional? Oh, they need a balanced attack to get back in this game. You hear it all the time. And so that's what the Lions have done is they've turned themselves into a running guy. John Morton, not Johnny Morton, the receiver, but John
Right,
Morton, the assistant coach,
right.
was here and helping at the beginning of 2022 before he got his job where he went to. So he actually was helping with Ben Johnson and Goff, helping develop the playbook back then. So I think the only thing Ben Johnson really developed was those weird psychotic trick plays that worked all the damn time. And that's what you'll see less of. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, it's your team. You know more about that than me.
Right.
I didn't.
I'm just trying to spell it out because everybody
Okay.
will know that that was a Ben Johnson special. That was this. That was that. You know what I mean? On certain plays, the end around, the double reverses, the flea flickers, those have been in the NFL for years, decades.
Right. And another thing, what did I see this at? This whole thing where they say Green Bay was the team that tried to nullify the tush push. Well, I saw a pod somewhere, I think it was maybe like a week or so ago, that it wasn't actually Green Bay, that it was actually Roger Goodell who wanted the tush push stopped. He didn't like the play. He
Yeah,
was afraid of players getting hurt.
right,
And
that's exactly why the original rule was put in back in God almost 100 years ago. I think it was 1940 something.
I remember you
Um,
saying that.
and it had to do with the sneak play from the field goal unit, where they used to let the quarterback run in, and the outside tackle would run in behind him and push him through the pile. Well, there was guys that got hurt during that. So they made it a rule for over 100 years that the tush push was illegal already.
Right. But like I said,
So
everybody was trying to say that it was the Packers who tried to nullify it, when actually, I'm just saying from what I saw, it wasn't the Pack. It was Roger Goodell who wants this play gone, not Green Bay. It somehow got pushed on to the Packers. Now, I'm just saying from a pod that I watched about like a week or so, maybe 2 weeks ago. I remember I'm like, are you kidding me? The Packers are taking the brunt of this, and because of Goodell.
right, but yeah, it's all more Goodell. But the Packers were the ones that brought it up, and this is true. The Packers did bring it up at the winter meetings first, and I think Roger Goodell contacts a different team to complain about it to have them do it. Is what's going on.
Well, I'm just saying from what it was said that it wasn't really the Packers' fault. It was Goodell, and somehow Goodell connected it with the Packers. And so I was like, I just laughed. I was like, you know what? It is what it is. and so forth. I mean, I sit there and I thought about the play. Like I'm like, well, ain't this kind of weird that that could be allowed, but then on defense, when they go to block a field goal, the defensive line's not allowed to what is it? Do certain things to the offensive line. If they do, they get penalized.
I don't know. Until they May 6th, when the next winter meeting pick up for the rule changes, until that's done, we don't know what's going to happen. Which is
Yeah, but you
smart.
know what I'm talking about with the field goals. The defense gets penalized if they
Right.
take out however they do with the offensive lineman. There's boom, they can't like jump over. They can't whatever. But then again, the offense is allowed to do the tush push, but the defense isn't allowed to do whatever to help them block a field goal. Is what don't make sense to me. Feel better?
Yeah, exactly. I just was I got somebody texting me.
Oh, okay. No, I was asking my girl. She wrapped an ace bandage or this knee thing around her knee. She heated it up, and I was asking her if it felt better. She's a Colts fan.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, her name's Jennifer. And
Hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
yeah, I just took her up today. She actually starting a job at the hospital up here and everything and so forth. We're getting all that taken care of and stuff. So
Yeah, heating up ace bandage usually does make it feel better because heat allows the inflamed tissue to actually loosen up. So I know a little bit about all this stuff because my whole body needs heat at times.
now here's one thing I've been wanting to go on a podcast. Is there any new rule changes coming this season?
The new kickoff rules. Um, it's going to be the touchbacks go to the 35. They're trying to force teams to kick into the landing zone now because teams actually went from the year before there was only like 24.6 yards per kick return was the average, right? Before they changed the rule.
Mm-hmm.
Last year it was 33.8. So it actually did help the game and it made it more exciting because we saw more kick returns. We even had a kick return touchdown. Two of them to be exact.
So if it's in the end zone, it comes up to the 35.
Right. If it lands in the landing zone and all that stuff, it'll still be the 20 for to penalize the receiving team. You know what I'm saying? If it goes past them and gets in the end zone.
Oh, okay.
So they get penalized for not returning it, and they're penalizing the teams that kick it into the end zone at the same time. And I think it's a good idea because it's going to force people to aim for that little window between the 20 and the goal line so that the teams have a chance to return it.
Okay. So there's no other significant rule
Not
changes?
really. There's a couple of other ones. Overtime change. I think both teams get a possession now. Period.
Like college?
Not like college. Like the pro one with a kickoff and all that. But there is a minimum because let's say the first team gets a touchdown right off the rip. It's supposed to be game over, right?
Right.
Well, they're at least going to give them a chance to tie it up.
Oh, so there's no more. If they get a touchdown, it's over.
Right.
Okay. So it's almost like college, though.
But not quite the same. It's not
Right.
sitting at the 25 and just trying to drive into it for a touchdown.
Right. I
One
still
thing
say they should make it if a field goal kicker could kick a 60-yarder, it should be 4 points.
Oh, 60 or more? Amen. And if it's less than 20, guess what? It's 1 point.
Yeah, but a lot of the 20-yarder are dinging off the goalpost.
Well, that's because nobody really has to try them, so they don't practice them as much, and they think it's going to be automatic. That's my opinion on it. Or the team didn't line up on the hash where you're more accurate from, because every kicker has one they're better from. Some are better from the right hash, some are better from the left hash, and other ones have to be right in the middle because all they know how to do is kick bone straight.
Now I'm just waiting to see if there's going to be any changes on like how can I say this, tackling or
Oh
all
no,
these.
those all got voted down because they were trying to make it a safer game again, and everybody voted it down because they understand that the fans are sick of the softness of the NFL.
Right.
They don't want it to get any softer. They said if we want flag football, we'll make it a flag football.
Exactly, or two-hand touch.
Exactly. I mean,
Oh, you down? I touched you back here.
and that's what one of they wanted to change the quarterback rules again. Is what basically what it was. They are talking about still, and that's on the table about like what Pat Mahomes always does when he acts like he's going to go out of bounds and then runs back then and keeps on going and then get hit and then get the penalty. They're talking about making that a penalty.
Huh.
They said if you slide or you start to go out of bounds, you better go out of bounds where you're at. Basically, is what's being voted. That is something that I heard. It's not a rumor that he's coming. It's a rumor that they should go after him because Sport Track has his contract value at $4.8 million versus $11 million is the comp for Zadarius Smith. And the only reason why he only had 5.5 sacks was he tore his bicep last year and he couldn't play the whole season. And so if you were going to go and get a guy that's a 4-time Pro Bowler or a 2-time All Pro and try to get somebody on your team at defensive end, that's the cheaper option right
Oh, they're going after Judon.
now. I hope we do because it makes sense money wise. I just read that article this morning too, Brent, so I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Hell, we should go after him because hell, we got their old defensive line coach, Covington.
Right.
Shit, Covington should speak up. Like, hey, Matthew Judon's out there, go get him. What the hell? I mean, I'm really stoked for this season. Like, it's gonna be fun here with my girl because she's a Colts fan. She loves football as well and everything, and watch football and all that. It'd be fun. And maybe we could invite some friends over and have some wings and pizza, whatever, and shit. And I'm excited to see, Golden.
Brent. No. You can't have him, Steve. Every time I see somebody say Steve like that at the end of the sentence, I think back to that movie Multiplicity with Michael Keaton. You ever seen it?
What's that?
You ever seen the movie Multiplicity with Michael Keaton, the one where he made clones to make his life easier?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he had the one that came out half retarded, and he named him Steve.
Well, I'm just saying, we have the old New England defensive line coach, Covington. He should say something. Hey, Matthew Judon's out there.
Matt Judon really stepped up when he became a part of the Ravens, and then he went down there to Atlanta, and it just didn't work out in Atlanta because, well, it's the fail camp.
Well, you see, that's like a thing I'm saying. Where's these guys' hearts at? And it's just weird when you go to one team, you can excel, and you go to another, is like, does the team not really want you, or they don't really want you to play? I mean, how can you play differently? Is what I don't understand.
Yep. And Brent says, I like pizza. That's from the movie. Oh, that movie was great, though.
Oh, Brent's a trip.
Yeah. I like pizza.
like I said, joining a lot of these podcasts over there. Like I said,
Rough.
you know, Mike, Russell, Sarah, a lot of the guys. I met a lot of good guys, a lot of good friends on these podcasts, which is fun to come talk football.
Yeah, that movie was hilarious, and it had its touching and good side to it too. And that's the weird thing about those movies back in the '80s and '90s that we used to watch. The ones that weren't quite blockbusters. You know what I'm saying? They all had something that made them a little bit of everything back then.
They're reopening Alcatraz.
That's what it says. Trump's ordering it being reopened.
Well, I know where I'm going to be living.
Not San Francisco. I don't want to have to use an app to walk over.
Uses a prison for 60 years.
Thanks, Brent. I appreciate that. I said, I don't want to live in any town where I need an app to avoid the homeless crap. Literally. They have an app for that in San Francisco, right, Steve?
Alcatraz. Wow.
Did you hear what I said?
I missed it.
They actually have an app in San Francisco so you can navigate through the city without being near the homeless people's crap on the street.
For real?
For real. That's a real app.
That's
disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what Sanctuary City's got us.
Yeah. I mean, I was in California once back in 2000, not in the San Francisco area.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed my time there. I was there for like almost a year, whatever. I ain't going to deny that or lie about that. But really, the more and more I thought about it, I'm glad I'm not there. And I know a lot of people left there because, to tell you the truth, well, not just that.
And expensive.
Well, not just that too, hon. One bad earthquake, and that state's going to be floating out into the ocean.
Oh yeah, it's on that fault line.
I told my sister who's out there,
It's going to have its own little island.
Her and Pete better go. No, this is how we're going to go. This is how we're going to go.
So for tonight, what I'll do is I'll look up all those rule changes, Steve, the ones that actually did go through and the ones that they're still thinking on. And tomorrow we'll discuss that.
Okay.
That way we can go through it step by step, look at the rule changes they're proposing, which ones got passed and which ones have to be.
I mean, now, what do you think? Now, we're still in the beginning of May. You think through June, July, any new ones can pop up?
Well, any ones that pass tomorrow get put in. Tomorrow's the meeting, May 6th.
Oh, okay.
So it's a good topic to bring up and actually discuss it while they're doing it live. You know what I mean? While they're still debating and voting and everything else. And we find out at either 4 or 5 p.m. on NFL Network, ESPN, or wherever you get your mainstream media news, what those rule changes are.
Okay. And the schedule comes out the 14th.
Yeah, it was 14th or 15th. I know that.
14.
Like I said, I hope when we play you guys and we play the Vikings, we better get you guys and the Vikings at our place at the end of the freaking season, not in the goddamn beginning.
No, Brent, we actually covered that when he first got here about the draft, and we talked about all 4 teams, how every team had a functional draft. It wasn't big, sexy stuff. It was what the teams needed to fill the holes on their roster.
Well, Brent, it's like this. I loved our draft, excited. I don't care for those big name players. Like I told JB, there's a receiver you guys took. What was it, the 3rd round? You gave out 3, whatever. People were knocking that, laughing at that, or whatever. But the thing is, to be honestly truthful, you can't deny a player that's like us. I remember years ago when we traded out of the 1st round into the 2nd, we took Jordy Nelson. Who the hell was that? Nobody knew who Jordy Nelson was. He wasn't one of the top name receivers out there on the board. Maybe on the Packers board. But see, the thing is, everybody looks at because they're not the top name guys. Oh, no, we failed. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Give these guys a chance. I love what we did in the draft. I loved our undrafted free agents. I'm looking, for you got to give every person a chance. All because they're not the top name guy and whatever and so forth doesn't mean squat. Because like I said, like if you look like these undrafted free agents over the years, like Minnesota years ago had one of the top defensive linemen ever in John Randall. He was an undrafted free agent. And look what he did in the NFL and so many other ones. Like I said, I like the guys who we get from the fourth round and on, and plus the undrafted free agents. Like I said, I've been looking up, watching videos like just this morning. I think it was last night. I saw where the Packers paid this undrafted. His name's Jonathan Baldwin from UNLV, and I was watching his highlights this morning to see what this guy's about, whatever. And you know what? All I'm going to do is hope and pray that I think this guy can play. I think whatever. But the thing is, how much does he want it? Does he have the heart?
Yep.
And whatever. That's what you have to look at.
Yeah, I love this comment by Brent here. So true. Mockers mock things up. Everybody thinks the board should fall the way that Mel Kiper says it should.
I love Mel Kiper. I do. I think, whatever. What was that, 94 when he had that incident with the Colts manager or whatever? Who in the hell is Mel Kiper? Was that 94, I think it was?
Yeah. 94, 96, somewhere right around there. Wasn't it Bill Parcells that said it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember if it was when he was with the Cowboys or the Bills, but I remember it was Bill Parcells that said it.
Well, Mel Kiper said something, and then the owner of the Colts, came on and said, "Who in the hell is Mel Kiper?"
Oh, yeah, Jim Irsay said it later on, but I mean, I know Bill Parcells said it back while he was coaching too.
Yeah, but the years. I mean, come on. If you think about it, do the homework. Like, look what Dicka did, giving all his draft picks away for Ricky Williams. What the hell? I mean, you never know what's going to happen in these drafts and stuff, like whatever. And it's always the big name players. And look, Ricky Williams is one of probably the top running back that year. Mike Ditka gave up his whole entire draft for this top running back. And look what happened. And see, here's these guys in this draft today. They want these top name players, whatever. Yes, they could come out, be perennial stars, no doubt. But if they come out bust, and we made a mistake or whatever. Yeah. Thing is, no matter who the players, what the name is, give each guy a chance and just hope and pray. I love what we did in the draft. I love the guys that we got. Like my brother asked me every year, what do you think about the Packers? Hey, let's see what they do on the field. Right. This is all on paper. And what they did in college, this isn't college anymore. That's it. No, it's not, Vato. This is the pros now. This is all different. They got to learn new playbooks, got to learn new schemes. They can get chemistry and everything. This isn't college anymore. You're not going to see those plays, what you saw on videotape in college. Now this is new.
Right. And that's the same as with that's the same with any of these cornerbacks that come out. We all know that some of them come out and play good right away anymore, but that's right. That's not the norm.
Well, it's like the quarterbacks, like Richardson and all these other guys, because they can throw the ball 60, 70, 80 yards down the field. They think they're a top-tier quarterback. Let me tell you something right now. I can remember years ago when I was playing football, there was a kid here named Billy Conley. He played quarterback as well. He could throw farther than me. I'll admit that. But my accuracy was better than his, and I beat him. All because of the accuracy. It's not how far you can throw the ball. It's accuracy in the chemistry you have with the receivers. And the thing is, everybody's knocking Jordan Love because of whatever. Hey, yes, Reed, Wicks, Watson at times, Dubs, many of the receivers drop passes. Is that Love's fault? Right. I mean, like they say, if the ball, you can touch the ball with your hands, you should be able to catch it.
You guys in the Bears led the league in drop passes, right?
What's that?
You guys in the Bears led the league in drop passes last year.
I think so. But everybody like Knox love because whatever. But you can't blame him if his receivers drop the ball.
Right. And you know what I always do this time of day, and I know you hate it, but
Oh, here we go.
it is that time because the
Oh
show's
no.
almost over. You know what's coming, don't you?
Yeah,
Because
go ahead.
yeah, 39 drops by Packers receivers. That's true. And it was 35 or 36 for the Bears, if I remember right. And the Brent knows, don't he?
Well, it's also like this. Everybody bring. You know what? That was last year. That's over with.
Right, exactly. Because everybody gets better each year they play, and you had rookies in that room last year. But it is
Yeah.
that time. We're going to start at the bottom of the barrel because it's the beginning of the week. Last place. Fuck the Bears. FTP. And the Vikings can get stole.
Why?
It's the only time you
Oh,
hate
fuck.
being on the show is when I do that, isn't it?
Actually, hey, that's part of the show. With these shows, there's got to be some sort of animosity. I mean, make it respectful and fun, but that's what football is about when you can do some trash talking.
Yeah,
But keep it respectful.
This is the part that surprises me is that you guys haven't changed your wide receiver coach with me having so many drops 2 years in a row. I understand the players got to make the plays, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he's not improving their hands, isn't that part of his job?
Well, there's one thing that I learned when I played football back in the day. If you want to, whatever, I would take them, especially when it's cold, and it's cold up here in Green Bay. I would take that ball with my bare hands and I would just smack the hell out of it. Just keep smacking it. Because when that ball is now coming at you, you're going to be able to catch it.
Right.
And that's what these players should learn. If I was there in Green Bay I'd say, look, just smack that ball with your hands. Just smack it. Then next thing you know, when that ball's come firing at you, you ain't going to feel it. You're going to catch it. Brett.
We love your team. Well, thanks everybody for watching. It's been a hell of a show. Steve, thanks for joining me. I appreciate everybody in the comments. Make sure you like, make sure you share, follow. If you're on Twitter, even like those. It helps those guys on Twitter. It's the algorithm. It's how all of these social media things work. Have a great day, everybody, and try every day to be a better person than you were the day before, because that's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. And tomorrow we'll go over league rule changes. I think that's a good way to do the show.
All right.
Have a good one, everybody.
You too.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.